Welcome, besties. If you want to craft your best life, save money, and be inspired, you are in the right place. It's time to craft. Today we're going to make more than 30 ornaments of all different styles, very inexpensive and so easy to do. I saw this cute picture on Pinterest and I had to make it. So you take a little mini red solo cup and then you take some beads. They also have done it with like colored sprinkles, but I didn't have any of those. And I'm using my Arteza paint markers and I am just painting. I decided to do 9 of each color that I picked, and I just picked the really bright, vibrant color. So there's actually 7 different colors, and I'm not going to bore you with watching me paint them all, but now they're all done and I'm putting them into my clear bulb that I got at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to hot glue that opening of the bulb. I already took off the little metal hanging piece. I'm going to hot glue that directly to my little red solo cup. And it already looks like a little gumball machine, doesn't it? And I'm going to take a very thin red and white ribbon to make a little hanger. I'm just going to hot glue that to the top. And now I need a little can opener, the lifty thing like you see on a soda can or a soup can. And so I've got one of those, and I just got some tin snips. Thank you, Kristen K, for the recommendation. And I'm going to cut off all the rough edges, cut off the little flippy thing, and I'm going to straighten it out now and hot glue it directly on the front of the little red cup, and it looks like the opening where the gumballs come out. And it is so cute and so easy, and literally this didn't even cost me $1, all things told. Tell me what you think. I just love it. It's adorable. This ornament, I'm going to take 3 wood ornament shaped cutouts and some white tulle from Dollar Tree. I'm also going to use these little mini snowballs. They were gifted to me, but I think they came from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to take these little mini red solo cups, and they definitely came from the Dollar Tree. Those are so cute. I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white, and I'm going to paint the front of these ornaments. After I paint all 3 of them, I'm going to use my heat tool from Amazon to dry them off. I'm going to use my metallic silver paint from Folk Art to paint the very tops of the ornaments, you know, the part that would normally be metal. Now I'm going to figure out how I'm going to position my little red solo cup. I want to make like a little bucket, but I want it to lay flat on the ornament. So I'm going to cut half of it off roughly and then hot glue it to the front of one of the ornaments so that it is sitting there and I can fill it up with my little snowballs. Now it takes a little bit to cut it out, but you just have patience until you get it the right size and then flat enough. And there you go. I finally got it the way I wanted it, and I feel like it's too tall. So I'm going to cut it and then kind of overlap it to shorten it and hot glue those 2 pieces together. So now I have a better sized bucket. I didn't want it to cover the entire ornament. And now that I have the right size, I'm going to go ahead and hot glue that directly to the front of my ornament. I'm going to put a little extra hot glue on the inside to make sure it's very secure. I'm going to take my white tool and I'm going to measure. I want to cover that whole front from where the cup starts going down. It just kind of adds that little snowy effect, and it kind of dulls the red a little bit, which is what I wanted. And I'm going to go ahead and start hot gluing that and then trim it as I go. And when I get to the bottom, I'm going to fold it kind of like a Christmas present, where you kind of fold the 2 sides in and then pull it under, and you'll see me doing that. It's easier for you to watch than explain. Basically, I'm just securing this to the very front. I'm going to trim around the sides and make sure I don't have any excess hanging over. Hey, if you're on social media, come find me. I am on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook. I'd love to see you there. And if I've inspired you to create anything, I'd love for you to send me a picture. And now I'm going to go ahead and wrap that bottom like a present, pushing in the sides and then folding that other piece down, and I will secure it with hot glue and trim it. And now it's on there just the way I want it. Now I'm going to take all those little mini snowballs. I'm going to see how many it takes to fill in. And I thought to myself, I don't need to fill up the whole thing. So I'm just going to start gluing them just below the surface of the top of the cup and then build up from there. And you'll never know that the bottom isn't filled. And that way I can save some of my little snowballs. And they're so cute already. I'm loving it. I'm just hot gluing them in there till I get as many in there as I think looks nice. There we go. Now I'm going to take one of the other ornaments and I'm just going to write in my own handwriting 5 cents. You know, that one wasn't too difficult. I didn't really need stickers or a Cricut for that. And then I'm going to do the same thing and write snowballs on the third ornament. Try to write it a little bit like the Ray Dunn font. That's what I like to do, but I never quite get it. And now I'm just going to glue all 3 pieces together with my hot glue. Kind of stagger them so they're not straight across exactly. And it is so cute. Snowballs 5 cents with the little bucket. And now I'm going to cover the snowballs ornament with the tool because again, I really like that little snowy look. I'm just going to trim it and I'm going to do the same thing on the 5 cents. It just gives a nice cohesive look and it looks like it's been snowed on and I absolutely love it. I think it's so cute. So just hot gluing it on, trimming around the edges so it's nice and neat. And now I'm going to take my red and white baker's twine and I'm going to tie one side into the snowballs and one side into the 5 cents. And there you go. I've got my hanger. You guys, I love this one. Let me know what you think. I used those little footballs. Remember that sign in the fall with the pumpkins and the footballs from Dollar Tree? Well, I saved those and I sanded off all the glitter and now I'm just using my plaster colored Waverly chalk paint to cover the front and the sides. And once that dries, I'm going to Mod Podge some really cute plaid tissue paper over the top. And the reason I wanted to paint them first is I wanted the white to be underneath so the white in the tissue paper would stand out. Otherwise, sometimes it comes out looking brownish. And so this, you can kind of see around the edges the difference and I just like the way it looks better. So I'm using, on this one I am using Mod Podge and then I'm using some saran wrap and the brayer tools right there on the right, the black one, to make sure I don't have that many wrinkles or bubbles. And I did get a few wrinkles, but I'm okay with it because I'm going to be distressing this. So I don't mind if it looks a little older. So now I'm just waiting for the Mod Podge to dry, and when it does, I'm going to use my little sanding sponge and I'm just going to very carefully sand off the edges of the tissue paper and it just comes off so nice. And now it's time to decorate these little surfaces that I've created, and I've got this little red truck and a camper from Dollar Tree and then these little baby bottle brush Christmas trees from Dollar Tree. On the first one, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hot glue the little camper and the truck onto the front of the ornament towards the bottom. And I just think they are adorable. And then I'm going to add a Christmas tree to the back. There's a plasticky one in there, but it looks so fake. So I added a little bottle brush one and I just used wire cutters to take off the little stand. And then I'm going to get some jute twine and I'm going to hot glue the start of it to the back and I'm going to wrap all around just randomly crisscross and glue it on the back whenever I can to keep it nice and taut and in the places where I actually want it. So it looks, you know, it is random, but I want it to look kind of nice anyway. I'm going to use that same red and white ribbon and make a little hanger for it and just hot glue it on the back and put a lot of hot glue. And then I'm going to cut a little piece of a ribbon and put that over where the hot glue was. And that one's done, except for I will come back and distress it. For the second one, I found that on this little gift bag, there was a sign that says Merry Christmas and it had little pieces of foam underneath to kind of raise it up. So I'm going to use that and leave the foam on there, put hot glue on each of those little pieces and then put it right on the front of the ornament. And I just think it looks so cute and festive. And then the bag handles are this red rope, so I cut off the little metal ends and I just hot glued this around the whole entire ornament, and I just think it's a nice trim and it kind of finishes it off. Now I am going to come back and I'm going to distress this one too, and there I just made another hanger just the same as the other one. Now I'm going to take some burnt umber from Apple Barrel Paint and I'm just going to use it dry brush, where I just put a little bit on my brush, wipe most of it off, and then paint it over the top. And what I'm doing is trying to make it a little older and dirty and worn. And I'm also going to do it to the truck and the camper, like in the places where you would maybe see that, or if it's driving out in the wet muddy snow and stuff, you know, just to make it look a little bit older. And I really do like that effect, and my Christmas tree is very rustic, so this kind of works. And here they are, and I really love the way they turned out. You'll have to tell me what you think. I hope you guys like them. I love it so much. It looks so cute. And it's just kind of fun and festive, but at the same time it's got that rustic feel. One is another Pinterest item that I found, again using the little red solo cup, and I used a piece of washi tape that's black and sparkly, and I put it around, and then I made a little gold belt buckle, and I used some of my white and gold Arteza paint markers, and I painted on the little gold buttons, and then I added what would be like the fur around the bottom and the top, and this is basically like a little Santa jacket. And so I put a hole in the top, and I just used my hot glue gun to do that, by the way. And I put some twine through, tied a knot, pulled it up, and then just for, you know, a little extra color, I added a little piece of buffalo check ribbon, just kind of hot glued it around the top. And that's it. That is how easy this one is to do. You could make a garland out of this. You could put little lights inside. So cute and easy and so inexpensive to make. I think this would be a great activity for kids. I mean, basically the whole family can participate. It would be so much fun, and it would be easy enough. And look how cute it turns out. Oh my gosh, can you picture a whole garland of that? I got some free printables online, and I also ordered a really cool book of scrapbook paper that had all kinds of Scottish plaids. It was really inexpensive on Amazon, like just over $5. I decided to trace just the part that looks like fabric in this printable, and I'm going to cut out a plaid to put right on there. And so what I'm doing right now is just penciling over the edges, and then I'm going to trace that by writing on the back side and kind of imprinting that pencil that I traced onto back of the scrapbook paper, and then I can cut it out. You'll see what I'm going to do here in just a second. In Scotland, the Great Highland bagpipe is perhaps the world's best known bagpipe, and it is native to Scotland. It's actually acquired widespread recognition because of its use in the British military and in pipe bands throughout the world. So you see here how the pencil marks transferred onto the back of the scrapbook paper, and now I can just go ahead and cut that out. The next thing I'm going to do is Mod Podge that little piece of the plaid scrapbook paper right onto my printable and get rid of that weird looking one that came out of my printer, because I want to customize this a bit and make it really cute so it will look like a nice ornament. A little trick that I use after putting Mod Podge on the top is to get a piece of plastic wrap or a Ziploc bag and put it over, and that way nothing sticks to my brayer and I can roll out any bubbles and make sure everything makes contact. Since I don't want to throw anything away, I want to be very thrifty. I have some cardboard from a box that I got, and I'm going to use that to give some substance and structure to my ornament. So I'm now Mod Podging that onto a piece of cardboard. The next thing I'm going to do is cut out around the actual shape of the bagpipes. So just quick question, how many of you are already starting to decorate for Christmas? Let me know what you're doing. I'm going to use my Arteza paint markers and just color in some of the bagpipes and the metal and all of the pieces just to bring them more to life and give this a little bit more of a three-dimensional feel. Plus, the colors got kind of muted when I printed them out, so I really wanted to make sure that they stood out more. The next thing I'm going to do with my white marker is I'm going to write the Gaelic words for Merry Christmas. Well, I don't speak Gaelic, but I will do my best to pronounce it for you. It is Nally Criel. I hope I did that right, so if you're Scottish, feel free to correct me somehow. Now, those of you who know me know that I can never just leave it like it is. I have to add more, so here I am, adding more again. To finish it off, I added some nautical rope around the edges just to give it a more finished look. And then I put a little popsicle stick on the back and put a little bit of twine so that you could hang it on the tree. And I just hot glued that, and it gave it more support and a place for hanging. I just love how this one turned out. I was worried it would be really hard to cut around all the bagpipe pieces, but it wasn't too bad. I just decided to leave some of them together like that because it was just too much trouble, but I think it's adorable. And I love that I was able to put the Gaelic words of Merry Christmas on there too. I cut out a little printable of the country of Scotland. Now there's a lot of little islands and little inlets, so I couldn't cut it exact. But then I took another piece of cardboard and I measured out a square, and that's what I'm going to use to support this because it's a lot smaller than the other ones. I chose another piece of the scrapbook paper, the Scottish plaid, and I'm going to put that over the entire cardboard. And then the map of Scotland's going to sit right on top, and everything's going to be Mod Podge just like before, but I'm going to do something a little bit different with this one, which you will see in a moment. I'm going to use a blue Sharpie to trace all the way around the entire borders of the country of Scotland. I'm going to use a blue Arteza paint marker to color inside all of the border lines that I created. Now I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to make crossbars going diagonally across the country. Now what I'm doing is creating the Scottish flag over the country, just because I thought that would be super cool. And now I'm using my white Arteza paint marker to color in the crossbars, and that will make the Scottish flag. Doesn't that look neat? So just a little info. The flag of Scotland is a white X-shaped cross, which represents the cross of the patron saint of Scotland, St. Andrew, on a blue sky. And the flag is called the Saltire or the St. Andrew cross. That was pretty interesting. I did not know that. And being my extra self, I added a little white border. I added some nautical rope around and I left extra at the top because this is going to actually hang diagonally. I used a little bit of jute twine to wrap around the top to create that little extra support. Added 3 beads, one was painted white, and then left a loop at the top to hang it. And there it is. I absolutely love the way this one came out, and I love the way the flag looks kind of over the country. It's just a really cool effect, and I'm so happy with how it came out. Tell me what you think in the comments. Now this ornament is going to be the cutest little Scottish Terrier dog. Oh my gosh. I always think of Scotland when I see a Scottish Terrier. Using the same tracing technique as I have done on the other ones, I'm going to cut out some of the plaid and put it on where his little sweater is and just kind of cover that up. And I'm using the Royal Stuart, which is our family's tarp. I'm going to Mod Podge everything on just like I have before, and I won't really have to say too much because you've seen me do this already a few times now. One thing that I did do different is I decided to braid 3 strands of the jute twine to make the hanger. And it's interesting because in Scotland they don't say braid, they say plait, P-L-A-I-T. Isn't he the cutest? Oh my gosh. His face is so adorable, and I love the little plaid on him. It's just adorable. I love it. For this ornament, I'm using some jute twine, one of the little wooden snowmen cutouts from Dollar Tree, a really cool kilt that I had, which is really for a wine bottle, and then I've got some paint, ink by Waverly, a white sample I got at Lowe's, pumpkin by Waverly, crimson, and then I ended up using a teeny bit of the antique wax as well by Waverly. I separated the wood from the stand, and I'm using the one side that doesn't have any cutouts, and I'm going to cut down the sides so that the little kilt will fit on it. Those little extra humps were in the way, so I'm just using a blade to do that. So a little background on the kilt. For anyone of Scottish ancestry, the kilt is a symbol of honor for the clan which they belong. It was first worn by those who lived in the Scottish Highlands. The kilt was a manner of dress that afforded the fighting army with possibly its most useful tool. Today, the kilt is the national dress of Scotland, and it's worn by many. In fact, my husband has one, and he wore one at our wedding. As you can see, I'm painting the snowman white on both sides, and I did 2 coats to get a good covering. I'm using the ink chalk paint to paint his hat on both sides, and I'm going to use that same color for his eyes and for his mouth and his buttons. I made one of his eyes winking, but not so sure if it came out like a winking eye. You'll have to let me know. I attached the kilt with a dab of hot glue in the front and the back. I saved the wood sticks from my foam brushes, so I cut off a little piece and I made that his little corncob pipe. And I used a little piece of a skewer for the actual handle of the pipe. And I used the Waverly Antique wax on the handle, and then I just used ink on the pipe itself. To create his scarf, I used some jute twine, which I wrapped around his neck, and then I made a little tassel by wrapping it around my fingers. I have a video where I show you specifically how to do it, so I will link that down in the description and up in the cards. That way I won't have to explain it. And that's how I made his little scarf. I used a little piece of jute twine to create a hanger on the back. And I wouldn't be me if I didn't have a few extra things to add. So I made a little red stripe on the front and back of his hat, which I actually think really added a lot. The other thing is I decided to add some smoke to his pipe. So I used a little bit of the cotton off of the Q-tip, and it was perfect because it kind of has a swirl to it and it looks just like smoke. You guys, I'm pretty sure this one is my favorite. I love Snowman, and then I love that he's wearing a kilt. So cute. And then I love the smoke on the pipe. I had so much fun making this one. You'll have to tell me what you think. I got these little teeny, I don't know what they're called, little mini plates kind of from the Dollar Tree. It came with like 10 in a container, so 10 for $1. And I had all these little mini gift bags I had bought that also came together. And what I did is I just took off the little tags, you know, where you'd write to and from. And then I'm going to use this Tight Bond instead of Mod Podge because I wanted to try it. I know I've done it before and it does dry clear, so I thought, what the heck, let's just try it. Didn't cost as much, you know, overall as the Mod Podge did. I ordered it on Amazon. So I'm attaching those to the little cards that I cut out to the fronts and insides of those little plates. Now, I'm not going to show you all of these ornaments individually. Some of them I was just experimenting with different techniques, like I hot glued a ribbon around, I did some tissue paper decoupage on one, added some pine cones on another, and I ended up going back to this pine cone one and I added a bunch of pine cones, some little sparkly balls and red balls, and I made snow. And now I'm putting some nautical rope around. I mean, I was just kind of experimenting, so I'm not going to bore you with all of that. I think these would be fun to do with kids, and you'll see here shortly what they kind of look like at this point. I did go back and distress them, and then like I said, I added tons more to that pine cone one. I love it now. The other ones I'm not as happy with, so let's just forget those, but this one I really like. What do you think? I am so excited about this project. I saw this on Pinterest and it was so cute, and I thought I can do this with some Dollar Tree supplies I have. So I've got this little pumpkin from the Dollar Tree, took off the tag on the back, sanded all around it, got that glitter off. Why do they put so much glitter, you guys? Using my little ladybug vacuum from Amazon. Now I'm going to measure both the width and the length because I need to know how much space I've got when I make my lettering. Now I'm going to use my Kills primer paint in white. That's going to be my first coat, and then I'm going to use my white chalk paint from Full Card. And I'm going to go ahead and get a really nice coverage on here with one coat of that. I am going to use a very small ruler so I can draw some lines. I'm creating a cell phone. That's what I'm doing. It's meant to look like my iPhone. I'm going to tape it and use the Waverly chalk paint in black called ink, and I'm going to draw the little camera and another little piece from the phone, and then I'm going to paint the black all around those areas where I've taped it off and where I just drew those little parts. Super easy. Then I'm going to paint the sides and the back and completely cover this whole thing with the ink chalk paint. I hope you guys will come visit me on social media. The best part, tape coming off. I love that. One thing I like to do is put a decoupage or a lightweight top coat over the top of something that I'm going to place vinyl or rub-on transfers or stickers on, because I don't want to pull off the paint by accident. So I'm going to do that, and then I decide to cover the whole thing and dry it off with my heat tool from Amazon. And then I'm going to cut my wording into each line. That way I can place it and just make sure that I have it exactly where I want. You don't have to do that. That's what I chose to do. I want the option of being able to hang this or put it on a tier tray to decorate for Christmas time, and so I'm just making this little piece of rope. I'm gonna make a little loop, glue it together, and then wrap some around the bottom, and there's a hole at the top where there had been a little pumpkin stem, and I'm gonna put some glue on it and place it right in there, and that's gonna hold it really well. And now I've got this adorable little piece. You guys, I love Pinterest. How about you? Do you guys look at Pinterest for ideas too? And that's all there is to this one. It's done. Pretty simple, and with the Cricut Explorer 3, it made it even easier for me to do this. I'm going to take these 3 little wooden ornament shapes. I'm going to use my Kills White Primer paint. I'm going to paint both sides. I'm actually going to be putting some paper on. I'm going to be using a glue stick to attach it. I like to paint the surface before I put paper, tissue, or napkins because that way if anything shows through, it's not the wood color. I got that paper at Hobby Lobby and teachers use it for their boards. Anyway, I think it's a great quality and it was very good price. It was on 40% off. There's my little glue stick from the Dollar Tree. Can't beat that. You get like 4 or 8 in a package for $1. I'm going to attach each of the little squares that I cut out of the buffalo check paper. I'll use my brayer to flatten it, cut around it, and then I'm going to take my sanding sponge from Dollar Tree and I'm just going to, in a downward motion, go around all the edges and make sure that I get all of the excess paper off. Now, I'm not going to show me doing it to both sides, but I'm going to do the exact same thing to both sides. I'm going to take a little bit of my metallic silver folk art paint and I'm just going to paint that little top part of the ornament. You know how they're usually silver, so I'm just going to put that on there, let it dry. Then I'm going to take my decoupage solution and I'm going to put it across the front of each piece so that I can put some words on each ornament. So on 2 of them, I'm going to put the words joy and peace. And then the third one, because there was white in the center and you wouldn't have been able to see the letters, I put that gold sparkly glitter piece on there. Now all I need to do is take the word that I printed out for this one, which was hope, and add it right over the top of that pretty gold glitter heat transfer vinyl. I just love the way this looks. It's so pretty. Then I'm going to take the other 2 ornaments and I'm going to kind of arrange them and hot glue them together. I think it turned out so cute and it was super easy. Got these leftover cardboard circles from a picture from Dollar Tree that I didn't use, and I thought, you know what, I could make some really cute Christmas ornaments. So I designed 4 ornaments, and I will have the printables, except for the one that says the Stewarts, because that's my name and you probably don't want it. But I will have these available with a link down in my description box as well in case you want to make these. And what I'm going to do is I printed them out on the water slide decal paper. Then what you do is you go, well, I went outside and you use a clear glaze, like a spray clear coat, and you do 3 coats 10 minutes apart so that it dries. Now I'm cutting out each of the ornaments. So I'm going to, of course, cut them into smaller pieces and then cut out the circles for all 4 of them. It's a really cool concept, and when you see how it works, you'll be pretty amazed like I was. It's hard to imagine how this is going to work, but when you see how it works in a little bit here, you'll be pretty blown away. I'm going to take some Crimson Waverly chalk paint and I'm going to paint around the edges of each of these round pieces of cardboard. And I actually did 3 coats. I'm going to dry those with my heat tool from Amazon. Then I'm going to get some really cute scrapbook paper I got at Hobby Lobby, and it's Christmas paper. I just love it. And I'm going to pick 4 different ones and I'm going to trace out my circles on them, and then I will cut all 4 of those out. Then I'm going to pick the piece that I want for each particular ornament, and I'm going to use some Mod Podge and I'm going to adhere it. Now I'm going to make sure I don't put a heavy coat because I don't want any bubbles or ripples. So I'm just going to put some on, use my brayer, which is also from Amazon, and I will go ahead and adhere that to the cardboard. I will do that with all 4 of my ornaments. And of course I'll speed it up so that you can see it not in real time. Once I get all 4 of my ornaments set with the scrapbook paper on the back, I'm just going to take a nail file, but you could also use sandpaper or a sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree. And I did a close-up here so you could see I'm sanding down. I'm not going up and down, just down. And it's separating the paper at the edge, and it will make a really nice clean finish. You just kind of keep sanding down all the way around whatever piece you're working on, and it'll just come right off. And in a second here, you will see how the piece is separating. There it is. It's starting to separate right now. And then you just go ahead and you just take that right off. And it's just a perfect way to get a nice edge when you decoupage. I'm going to take this furniture marker that I found at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to go around the edges of the pieces because I want them to look finished. I don't want to see the cardboard on there. I'm going to put some Mod Podge over the top of this side because what I want is it to be a nice smooth surface to put the water slide decal on. Now you may be wondering why it's called water slide decal. Well, you will see in just a few minutes here why. Now I'm going to take each of my decals and I'm going to put them with the appropriate scrapbook paper because I had picked them individually. And this is when I realized that I shouldn't have made my red border quite as thick. So I'm going to take some white chalk paint from Folk Art and I'm going to paint in the center. Now, if I had this to do again, I would have painted even more white and made an even thinner red border, and you'll see why in a minute here. And now for the magic. You put the little decal into water for 30 to 60 seconds. I had already put this one in and I just remembered I needed to get the top of my ornament wet. You want to get the top of your surface wet. So then I quickly got it wet again, and then you kind of dab it off. And watch, I am pushing with my thumb the decal right off the paper and then pulling with my other hand the backing out. And now I'm just going to smooth it out. Remember, it's wet, so it's easy to smooth around and kind of reposition it. Tell me that is not the coolest thing. I had no idea that's how this was going to work, and I'm very impressed. It's very cool. Once you get it in place and you've smoothed out the bubbles, then you go ahead and take like a paper towel and just dab it off lightly so that you can get the excess water. But it is very easy to just rub right on it, and if you see another bubble, just get it wet again and smooth it out. And I'm literally going to do this with all 4 of my ornaments. Now I'm going to go slow again so that you can see this. I'm going to put the decal in the water. Now this is slightly sped up so you don't realize how long it's really in there, but while it's in there I'm wetting the actual surface down, and then when the 30 to 60 seconds is up, I will pull my decal out of the water, tap it off so it's not dripping, and then I will slide the decal up a little so I can start putting it on the surface and then pulling out the backing. And again, smoothing it out. Is that not the coolest thing? And it's so inexpensive. I'm very impressed. I mean, this is very, very cool. And I designed the decals. That's the neatest part of all. You can make anything you want. So now here I'm doing the third one. It's the same process for all of them, but I wanted you to be able to see it a few times because it is different than anything I've ever done before. One thing to keep in mind is that the decals come out on a clear surface, or when you slide it off, you see how it's clear. That's why I probably needed to do less of the red background, but I didn't realize that till I did it the first time. Now that I have all 4 of my ornaments, I need to make a hole to hang them. So I'm going to use my Crop-A-Dial, one of my favorite tools. I got it at Amazon, and I'm literally just going to punch a hole at the top of each one. And that way I'll be able to string something in there, and I will be able to hang these on my tree or wherever I decide that I want to hang them. I have this red poly rope that you get in the automotive section at Dollar Tree. It's red and white actually, and I love it because it looks like candy cane or peppermint. And I'm just going to string it right in there. Now I was able to get the first one in just the way I'm doing it right now, but then I had to get a needle out and thread that because it was a lot easier because there's 3 pieces, so it tends to want to separate. So if you have like a upholstery needle or something, that'd probably be the easiest way to do this. And then I'm just going to cut off and make a knot at the top, and that way I'll have a weight to hang my ornaments. And I'll do that with all 4 of my ornaments. Off camera, I took a white Arteza paint marker and I went over the letters that got lost in the red border that I had painted a little bit too thick. So I was able to touch that up, and you'll see in the final pictures at the end how you can actually read the letters much better. I absolutely love the way these turned out. I think they're so cute. They're so personalized. I didn't have to use a cutting machine, saved a ton of money, and I love it. So let me know, have you ever heard of water slide decals? And have you ever tried them? If you have heard of them, let me know what you think. And is this something you would ever want to try, especially those of you who don't have a cutting machine and need an alternative way to do something like this? Homemade ornament, I'm going to use a little teeny embroidery hoop I got at Walmart and some fabric that I also got at Walmart. And I'm going to loosen up the screw at the top so I can separate the 2 pieces. And then I'm just going to open up my fabric, and I'm going to go ahead and figure out, what I need to do to get the right size. And then I'm going to trim around the outside ones. I kind of slip that in there, tighten the top. And that's actually the easiest way to do it, is just put it in there and then cut it out instead of like tracing a circle. This is way faster. Then I just take my little scissors and I cut even more off. I've got a bunch of these little laser cut shapes that I had ordered, and so I'm looking for some that I think would be fun. So I've got a bunch of different snowflakes, and then I'm going to put some bells on there, and then I'm going to put a little rocking horse in the middle. And I've got a bunch of different color ribbons that coordinate with the fabric. I'm just going to make a very simple bow using like the awareness ribbon type style, where you wrap it around and then pinch down the middle and tie around the center to make it tight. And I'm going to use a little bit of twine to do that. This is so easy. So easy, you guys. You could make a bunch of these, all different colors and shapes and whatever. And once I have my bow the way I want it, I'm going to secure it with hot glue to the very top. And I'm going to trim the sides a little bit, kind of an angle cut. And then I'm also going to attach a little bit of twine inside where the little screw is so that I can make a hanger. So I'm just going to pull it through. I had to kind of shove it in with into my little scissors, tie a knot, and this one is done. Easy and so cute. And another really easy ornament, I'm using this wreath that went with this reindeer that I used for another DIY. And I'm going to use these little wood cutouts again and my linen white chalk paint by Rust-Oleum. And what I'm going to do now, as I'm showing you the paint, is just awful. You guys, look what I did. Oh my gosh, can you believe this? Oh, I spilled my paint. Oh, it's horrible. See, I reversed it because it made me feel better. Like I got it back. Oh, I ended up just leaving it there and using it until I was done. And then I had to dig out the little cutouts. And anyway, okay, moving on. I am going to paint that entire wreath in that chalk paint and then all of the little cutouts. And then I have to dig them out because they're buried in there. And then I clean up the mess and unfortunately had to waste a bunch of paint. So sad. Okay. Then I'm going to take my antique wax by Waverly and I'm going to go ahead and go over the little ornaments because I wanted them to look like stained wood. Yeah, I could have just done that from the beginning, but I like the way it looks when you put the white first. So now I'm going to hot glue little reindeer And then I'm gonna put the little Christmas trees on there. And then I've got these adorable red buffalo check beads that I ordered on Amazon. And I put 4 of those on. And then some little green pine picks, and I just cut it off of another pick, and I'm hot gluing that right on there. And I mean, we're almost done. That's how easy this is. And then I'm going to put some little baby pine cones on there. You guys, I just love how cute this is and how easy. Then I'm going to take a bell that I already had that was green, and I'm going to put that on there, and I'm going to take a little bit of buffalo check ribbon to match the beads and tie that on, and I have a hanger. Guys, that's it. So easy and absolutely adorable. Ornament, I am going to take 3 of these little wood cutouts that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I picked a small one, a medium one, and a little bit of a bigger one. And very carefully, I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum chalk paint and linen white, and I'm going to just like kind of dry brush. I mean, a little heavier than dry brush, but I'm not going to like solid paint over it. What I'm doing is I'm dabbing on the sides too. I just want it to look like kind of snow. And I've got this little piece of scarf, and I'm going to cut off a little teeny portion of it. I'm going to take a jot marker from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to make eyes and a mouth. Then I'm going to take this little berry garland. I'm going to cut one off, and it's already orange, so I'm just going to hot glue it right on there. It's a perfect little nose. Now I'm going to take my buffalo check ribbon with red and black, and I'm going to hot glue it along the back to attach the 3 pieces. Now I'm going to roll over the top of that little scarf piece because it's a little bit too thick, and I'm going to wrap it around my snowman, and I'm going to hot glue it down and give him a cute little scarf. And then I'm going to trim like those long tassels, because obviously for this size scarf it doesn't work. And I'm going to use that ribbon to create a hanger and hot glue that down. I'm just going to make some buttons. You guys, this one is done, and it's adorable, and he is so easy to make. For this homemade ornament, I'm going to take one of those little wood slices from Hobby Lobby and some more of those little cutouts. I'm going to use fake snow from the Dollar Tree and a couple of little bottle brush trees, also either from Hobby Lobby or the Dollar Tree, because I got them both places and now I'm not sure which ones. So I'm going to hot glue 3 of the little trees right onto the top of the wood slice. I'm going to hot glue 2 of the little reindeer together to make it thicker, and then another 2, because I'm going to have 2 reindeer standing there, and now I can get them to stand up with the hot glue because they're a little bit thicker. So I've got the 2 of them facing one another, and then I'm going to use my white chalk paint by Folk Art, and I'm going to flock all the trees, including the one that's already white because I want it to look like it has snow on it. I'm going to put a little bit of flocking on top of the deer and then on the bottom, and then I'm going to start hot gluing this fake snow. Okay, I will never use this snow again because it's like the electricity gets to it in the air. Tried the spray glue adhesive. I mean, it was everywhere. Oh my gosh. You can't pick it up because it sticks to everything. Anyway, wherever there was a little gap, I put some white paint and I just dried it off with my heat tool. And then I'm going to take 2 pieces of twine, crisscross them in front of me, and lay down this slice on there. Bring up the 2 pieces. Just tie them all together, and I'm creating a little hanger because it's going to be a little scene that hangs on the Christmas tree. I'm going to hot glue it to the bottom to make sure the little twine doesn't move. You guys, I absolutely love this. I think it is just precious. This ornament is so cute and personalized. So I got these little wooden clothespins from Hobby Lobby and the little people shapes from Hobby Lobby. And I counted out enough for my husband and I and each of our kids. So he has 3, I have 2. And then I kind of chopped off the bottoms of some of them to align for height differences. And you don't have to do that part. and sanded the bottom to make sure that it wasn't rough. So once I have all of them cut, I cleaned up the sawdust with my little ladybug vacuum from Amazon. Now these 3 little people I'm going to use for my dogs actually. So the clothespins are going to be for people. My dogs are white Bichon Poodle mixes. So I painted them with the Rust-Oleum chalk paint and linen white. I did all 3 of them and dried them with my heat tool. Then I'm going to use this mop head to create like their ears, their legs, and their tails. So I'm just going to kind of, figure out how much I need, how thick or how thin, and I separate the little, sections there. And I'm just going to hot glue the ears on and, like I said, the legs and the tails. I'm going to do that for all 3 of my dogs. Do you like to watch videos while you are crafting or doing other things? Well, if you do, I have a mega video playlist down in my description box, and I hope you'll check it out. Now, I'm only going to show you one dog because they really are all the same in terms of how I did it. So there they are, all 3 of the pups. And now I'm going to take my Burnt Umber by Apple Barrel, and I'm going to paint all of the people. And then I'm going to take my white wax by Waverly and go over it to lighten them up a little. I wanted them to just have like a little bit of a distressed look, but I didn't want them to be the raw wood. So there they are. And now I'm going to figure out how I'm going to assemble them, and I'm going to hot glue the pieces together. Now you could use E6000 and hot glue. I decided to just use the hot glue on this. I'm not too worried about it. It's not bearing any weight. So now I'm going to take a very fine marker that I have that I use for my planner, and I'm just going to put the animals' names on there. So I have Bella, Sophie, and then Shane. And you can see there I misspelled my dog's name, so I had to paint white over it again and fix it. But hey, that's easy. That's not a big deal. Now I'm going to take a very fine art brush and just put all the names of the people. So we've got Val and Julie and Steven, and those are my husband's kids, and then Amy and Mike are mine, and then there's my husband and I on there. So there I was fixing the dog's name. Now I'm going to put Sophie in the middle, standing up, because she loves to stand in the prairie dog position, and then I'll put Shane on one side and Bella on the other. It is so cute. I mean, you could make this as gifts for other friends or family, as use as many as you need. I'm going to take my red and white baker's twine, I'm going to attach it to the back, and that's it. This one's done, and it is super, super cute. Now this ornament is super easy. I am using this ornament from the Dollar Tree and this little person from Hobby Lobby and a piece of a drop cloth. And then also some, it's a hula skirt I chopped up. And what I'm going to do is take the burnt umber and mix it with some water. I'm going to spray the little baby. I'm calling this the baby Jesus now. I'm going to paint it with the burnt umber because it will make it just a brown skinned little baby, which I do believe that Jesus was brown skinned, being where he came from. And I am going to cut up this little drop cloth. I'm going to make it like a little, like when you wrap up a baby. I'm going to hot glue it to the little baby Jesus and wrap him up, but I'm using the hot glue. Of course, you wouldn't hot glue a baby, right? So now I'm going to wrap this around the little baby Jesus and just get him all snuggled in there because I just want him to look like he's swaddled. And I could have used a cute little white wrap or something like that, but I thought this seemed more authentic. I mean, he was born in a manger after all. I'm sure whatever they had wasn't really fancy. So I wanted this to look kind of worn and tattered. You know, like that's his humble beginnings, you know? There he is, how adorable. And then I'm going to paint the top of this little ornament cap with that brushed metal gold, and I just love the way it looks. And then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to take my raffia, I'm going to put some Mod Podge, you know, glue type stuff down in the base, or the lid if you will, and try to get that raffia to stick. And then I was trying to get the little baby Jesus in there. I used a couple of tumbling tower blocks to make like a little bed. And he just wouldn't fit right, so I had to add a few more tumbling tower blocks. You'll see me hot gluing those into the lid in a minute, just so that it would stay. So there I am, and I just kind of really quickly brushed them with that burnt umber paint, just made them look worn. And I'm going to end up needing 2 right there. It still wasn't enough, and so now I've got something to kind of lift it up, and I can still close the lid, which actually ends up on the bottom on this ornament. Now I did use another ornament first and it was a disaster, so when you see it in the reveal picture, I just didn't want to retake all of the pictures. So there is baby Jesus just sitting on that right there, and now I switched out the silver lid for the gold one, and I love this so much. You could make this with your kids or grandkids and tell them the story of Jesus. I'm going to use some of my buffalo check ribbon that I have. I have 3 different widths and 3 different qualities. Now the 2 bigger ones are wired and more expensive, but I'm going to use the Dollar Tree one for this. I'm also going to use a little bit of a bell kind of a twine and 1 little teeny silver ornament, which I'm going to paint with the metallic, well, brushed metal silver, so it's a little shinier. I'm going to take the buffalo check ribbon and I'm going to figure out about how long I want it to hang below the little ornament. The ornament's going to be a head, so I'm going to cut 4 pieces for the body. It's actually going to be a little Christmas angel. And then I'm going to cut 2 pieces for the wings, and they'll be a little shorter. I'm going to hot glue the 2 ends together to make like a loop. And I'm going to do that with all of my pieces that I've cut. Besties, if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button. It tells YouTube to show my video to more people, and I would really appreciate it. Also, if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. So the first thing I'll do is turn the ornament upside down, and I'll glue the first 2 to the front, or actually that's the back, I believe. And then I will put the wings on, 1 on each side, and then I will put the other little loops for the body over that seam, so that way it covers it up. And now you can see the little shape of the angel. I'm going to take this little garland with the bells on it, I'm going to wrap it around and make a little halo, and then I'll leave enough on the bottom to hang down so I can attach it. So I'm going to snip it, and then I will just make sure it's going to fit on top of my little angel. And once I see that it will, I'm going to paint that garland. It's like wrapped in kind of a brown paper. I'm going to paint it with that brushed metal silver so that it matches the whole thing. Once I have that painted and it's dried, I'm going to hot glue it to the back of the little angel, and then I'm going to also attach it to where the fabric is. I'm going to cut another little piece of the ribbon and put it right over where I glued it so you won't see that. And then I've got this kind of like, I don't know, silver leaf sticks. I don't know what they are. Anyway, I'm going to cut a couple pieces off that, little teeny pieces, and hot glue them right under the angel's head. And just kind of makes for a little decoration there. Also covers the seam from where I put the ribbon. And I'm going to take 1 little red berry off of a pick and glue it right between those 2 little silver things. I guess they're little stems, I don't know. And then I've got this black and white baker's twine. I'm just going to string it through, and I'm going to make a knot and cut off the end, and that will be the hanger. And I'll just put a dab of hot glue there to make sure it stays. This was so easy. Imagine the possibilities with all different ribbons you could make with this. So cute. Gift bag is a little more kind of glam looking, but I just love the blue. So what I'm going to do is take these 2 stars that I got at Dollar Tree and the Family Dollar store, and I cut strips of the 2 different patterns on the bag. So the stripes and then the kind of houndstooth looking pattern. And I'm going to do the 1 star with the slats. I'm going to do Mod Podge and then lay down the striped gift bag paper. And then on the other star, I'll do the houndstooth. And I'm just going to do like I've been doing before, just with this time with Mod Podge, just attach them. And then I'll use my little nail file to sand downward around the edges to have, you know, nice looking fresh stars. There they are before I sanded them. And it's just easier to get into all those small areas with a nail file. You can use sandpaper too. It doesn't matter. I just prefer the nail file. Plus you can get them at Dollar Tree. I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint to paint all the edges and the backs. I just want them finished off, and I think the white goes with the gift bag. Now that they're done, I'm going to put the smaller star on top of the larger one and then turn it over, and where they touch, there's only 3 points where they touch, the bottom 2 points and the top point. I'm going to put some hot glue in there and attach them. It's just so cute. This one is so easy. I just happened to have these 2 stars in my stash, and I think it just worked out. They didn't even come together, but I think they fit very nicely together. Once they're glued together, I was looking at it and I felt like it needed just something a little more. So I found this snowflake ornament from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut off the little hanger and I'm just going to hot glue it right in the center. It's kind of clear, frosty looking, and that's it. I think it turned out beautiful. You could put this on a tree, you could hang it somewhere else, you could partner it up over a tag. I think this is just so cute and pretty, and I love the blue as a nice accent color. Be sure to let me know what you think of this one. And as promised, the other side of the bag I'm going to use for this one. So I've got this ornament from the Dollar Tree and it's so cute. I didn't want to mess with the front. So I'm going to make it a 2-sided ornament, and I'm going to put it over the top of the little bouquet of candy canes and trace the shape of the ornament around it. And then I will cut it out. I'm going to use my Aleene's tacky glue to attach it this time, and I'll just take a little foam brush and spread it around so that there's no lumps or anything and it's nice and flat. It's just kind of fun to show you all the different ways that you can attach paper, whether it's gift bags, scrapbook paper, whatever it is, you can use all these different ways. So now I'm just going to place that little cutout right on top of the ornament. And then I've got this little piece left over from a tin, like flat sheet from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to press it over to kind of get an outline of that little top of the ornament, and I'll cut it out. Just be super careful, it's very sharp. I'm going to use some hot glue to attach that right to the top, so that way it has its own little metal top piece just like the other side does. Then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and just trim off any excess around the top and around the sides. And I'm also going to use my nail file again to sand down around the edges. Now this time I didn't let it dry fast enough, so I scraped off a little too much, but you'll see that. I poked a hole on the top so I could hang it, put some Mod Podge over the top, and now I've got a cute little candy cane bow that I made, just a regular little shoestring bow. It's ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to trim off the edges. And then I'm going to put some little berries below the bow, and then I'm going to take a couple of leaves that I cut off a pick over the bow. I'm making it kind of 3D like what the picture is, but I'm adding a little life to it. I'm going to put some more berries. I just thought that would make it look really, really cute. And then I decided to dovetail the ends of my ribbon. And then I've got a teeny tiny little pine cone from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to hot glue that to the very center. It's so cute. And this was super easy. And you've literally got a 2-sided ornament. You guys, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I love doing 2-sided things. I like getting as much as I can out of whatever I'm doing. And this is the string that came with the gift bag, and I just put it in and tied a knot, and it is now the hanger. How easy is that? This pine cone DIY is going to be so easy. All it takes is one pine cone, some ribbon, and I'm using berries, and a couple frosted leaves. And what I'm going to do is make a cute little bow. So I'm going to take the ribbon, and because it's one-sided, I'm just going to kind of roll it up about 5 times so that the loops are the same size, and I'm leaving some for a tail. And then I will cut off, after I do that, enough for the tail to match the same size as the first tail. This is like kind of a non-traditional little bow that I'm making. I hope you'll check out my Amazon storefront where I keep most of my favorite crafting supplies. I'll put the link down in the description box for you. Once I cut off my second tail, I'm going to gather the bow pieces together and use a little chenille stem to tighten that and tie that around. And that way everything will be, you know, held together while I want to put it on the pine cone. And by the way, we're making it a Christmas ornament out of this pine cone. Now I'm going to fluff the bow, and there's just the 4 little loops there. And then I decided to dovetail the ends of my tails, and I just think that looks so pretty. Now, I don't like the way it's laying for this kind of a piece, so I'm going to hot glue the bow kind of down towards the tail so that when I set it on the pine cone, it'll set the way I want it to. I just didn't want it like way up high. I wanted it a little more facing forward, if that makes sense. You can see what I'm doing right there. I'm going to take my gold metallic paint by Folk Art and I'm going to paint, you know, the little petals of the pine cone in the gold. I think that'll look really pretty with the ribbon and then with this white and gold baker's twine. So I'm going to take some just below the bottom of the pine cone, which we're going to use as the top for hanging the ornament. I'm going to wrap the twine around several times and then I will hot glue it again, create the loop for my hanger, and then wrap it around the other side and hot glue it. So now I have a nice little hanger that's wide enough to get on the tree and also will be hidden by the bow and everything, so where it's attached you won't even see that when it's all done. And you'll see that here in just a minute. I'm going to hot glue my bow right on what is now the top of the pine cone, and then I'm going to put hot glue in the middle and put my frosted leaves there, and they look so pretty. And once that is attached, I'm going to take these berries, I'm going to cut them down to a size that I think is more in proportion with this ornament, and I'm going to hot glue them right in the center of the leaves. Then I'm going to take my Arteza red marker and just cover any of the little white spots on the berries from where I cut them apart. And I love how easy and beautiful this ornament is. You could do so many variations with the ribbons. Let me know what you think. We're going to make another little ornament using this pine cone and also these two different baker's twine. One is green and white and one is gold and white. I'm going to hold the ribbons together so that when I wrap them around, they are together. So I'll start by putting a little hot glue and starting it at the top, and then I will just start wrapping it around the pine cone. And I just think this looks so pretty because it gives a little bit of color to the flocked pine cone, and I just love the way it looks. You could do this with any colors you want. I think it's just so, so cute. Imagine making it rustic with some twine. That would be gorgeous too. Once I get to the end, I'm going to make a loop with the gold and white twine and hot glue it on one side, and then pull the loop up and around and hot glue it to the other side, and that will become my little hanger. And then I'll wrap some more of the gold and white around the pine cone just for a little added, you know, flair. When I get to the bottom, I will just cut it off and hot glue it in place. I hope you'll follow me on social media. I'd love to see you there. Send me pictures of anything that you've made and just say hi. I have this gorgeous gold kind of glittery pick. I'm going to cut two of the leaves off, and I'm going to put one at either side of the top of the ornament, and I'll use hot glue to attach it. And then I'm going to grab a really large kind of burgundy colored berry, and I'm going to put it right in the center. Now, I was thinking I was just adding, you know, a little touch of color. Well, when I showed this one to my husband, he thought it looked like an angel. So let's go with that. It's an angel ornament, but I love it and it's super cute. Let me know what you think. I have these adorable window clings. One was from Dollar General and this one is from Dollar Tree. And on the back side, it's got these kind of puffy stickers, which I'm going to use some of those too. And I'm going to make 4 Christmas ornaments using these clear plastic ornaments. I believe I got those in my Michael's bread box or whatever. Like, such a good deal. They were $5 for the box and tons of stuff was in there. So here's all the little pieces I've already cut out. And so for the first one, because this is round, you know, an ornament, I need to cut this one into pieces because it's just really hard to make it lay perfectly flat. So by cutting into pieces, it really helped. The hardest part was lining up each piece because the curve kind of throws things off. But anyway, I made it work. I just got the back of the window clings a little bit wet and then, you know, worked on them to get them onto the ornament. And I put one on each side. For the next ornament, I'm using these little Christmas trees, but I made a little slit where each of the little pieces of the tree come out on both sides, and that made it a little easier to lay it down on the rounded surface. So sometimes you just have to make little slits, sometimes you have to cut them into pieces, whatever works, right? I put one of these on each side as well. Here they are, all 4 ornaments. I didn't show you all of the ones I did, but because it's the same process. So I put the little window clings on there, and now I'm going to fill each ornament with something different. So for the Christmas tree ornament, I'm going to use these silver kind of glittery branches. I'll cut them into little tiny pieces and just put a bunch inside the Christmas tree ornament to give it a little more interest. And the little tops pop right off super easily. And I just thought that just added just an extra little cuteness to this one. For this one with the little gingerbread thing on it, I cut out these little frosted leaves. I believe those were from Hobby Lobby last year on clearance. So I just snipped little pieces and I stick those right inside this ornament. For the candy cane one, I have this beautiful candy cane ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I just cut it into little pieces and put a bunch of them inside there, and I thought that was adorable. And now for my peppermint ornament, I'm going to put this faux snow in there, and I just think that's so pretty. I'm going to take them outside and spray them with a clear glaze. I love the way these turned out, so fast and easy, and I bet you could do these with grandkids or kids. I just think they were super fun. So I've got these 2 different acrylic paints in bright green and yellow, and then I've got these little dusting mops from the Dollar Tree and a half of a stocking from the Dollar Tree. I literally just cut the back or the front off of each other, and now I'm going to hot glue them right sides together to create what's going to be an arm. I've got this leftover foam from an old dog bed, and I'm just going to shove a piece that I cut right in the arm to fill it in. Then I'm going to take these zip tie pieces that were left over from my last video. I did come up with something to do with them, and I'm going to use them like ribbing and create a bend in this arm. So now I have like the elbow and the upper arm available to me to bend by putting those in. Then I'm going to stuff a tumbling tower block in there and take a little twisty hook and just push really hard through the fabric and twist that in to that tumbling tower block. And now I can hang this on my Christmas tree. I'm going to use a combination of hot glue and Beacon fabric tack glue to glue these 2 dusting mops together, the wrong sides together. What I want to do is create a thicker piece that it doesn't show the back side at all. Once those are stuck together and nice and dry, I'm going to use this old Tupperware thing. I used to sell Tupperware, you guys, when my son was a baby. Oh my gosh, that was in the early 90s. That was so fun. Anyway, I'm going to put water, a combination of those 2 paint colors in there, and stir it up to get a pretty bright green. I'm going to put the dusting mat in there, and I'm just going to spread around any paint that kind of clumped up. And then I'm going to add some more water, add some more paint, and get the rest of it. And I'm just going to mush it around, squeeze it in, and that gets the whole thing saturated. It literally took 24 hours to dry. I did try with my heat tool from Amazon, but it took 24 hours. So anyway, I tried even low heat on the dryer. It made my dryer green. Please don't do that. I had to clean out the whole inside of the dryer. Now I'm going to cut, I'm looking at a picture of like the Grinch's hand. It's off to the side of my phone there. And I'm just cutting it out the way I think it will look. Now, warning, this gets messy. If you've ever worked with these dusting pads, you know. I'm going to put some spray adhesive on there. That's from the Dollar Tree. Just dry it a teeny bit and then use my hands to kind of squish it on there so that the fingers start looking, you know, more defined. And then I want to give him some ugly looking nails. So I'm going to take some more of those zip tie ends, the rounded ends, and I'm going to hot glue them right underneath there into the little mat and make fingernails on all of them. So now I found 2 things I can do with those. I'm going to take the wrist and I'm going to push it inside of my sleeve or my arm. I'm going to hot glue it. Now I'm going to need to support this, otherwise it's just going to like go flimsy at the wrist there. So I'm going to take some popsicle sticks. I left some openings. I'm going to attach them with hot glue, and I'm going to do that on the front and the back. That way my hand will stay like going straight out. And then I have a lot of leftover pieces of that mat that I, was shaping. And I'm just going to hot glue them over the popsicle sticks, and then you will never see them at all. And once that's done, I'm going to take this little teeny red ornament from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to tie it between his thumb and his forefinger. I hot glue them together, and this one's done. I think it turned out absolutely adorable. Please let me know what you think down in the comments. For this Grinch-inspired DIY, I've got this cute little metal envelope. I got it at a thrift store. I'm going to paint it with my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, front and back. And then I'm going to do 2 coats to cover it really well. Then I'm going to put some Mod Podge all over the whole thing. And then I decided to try using that watered down paint I had from making the Grinch hand, but I didn't like it, so I just went back to the solid green and I covered up the front there. Then I just took with a pencil and I wrote out Whoville just with my own little printing. I kind of looked at how it looked on the computer. And then I'm going to take a fine point Sharpie and go around each of the letters and then fill them in. Now, I just didn't feel like grabbing my Cricut and taking it out just for this little teeny thing. So I thought, what the heck, I'll do this. And it's just an envelope, so it wouldn't look perfect anyway. You could do it however you want. If you had little letter stickers, that would work also. Besties, I would invite you to follow me on social media. All my links are down below in the description box, and definitely send me pictures if you make anything that I might have inspired you to create. Now that the lettering is all done, I've got this little Grinch like fairy light set that I got last year at Hobby Lobby, and so I used some last year, and I'm going to cut off a couple more of the little heads, and I'm just going to hot glue them right on the front of this envelope on either side of where it says Whoville. They're very lightweight, so the hot glue is definitely enough for this. I've got another little red ornament from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to take some green and white baker's twine, put that through, and then I'm just going to put that through the hole on the envelope and then tie off a knot, and that's the way that we'll be able to hang this ornament on the Christmas tree. You notice on the back there I had done that green kind of wash paint. I'm going to go back and fix that with the dark green because it just didn't look the way I was hoping that it would look. And that's it. Once this is done, this ornament is ready to be hung on the tree, and I think it's adorable and it looks so cute. It was such an easy project. You could do this with any kind of envelope. You could make an envelope out of cardboard and this would work just fine. Thanks for watching. Click the video on the screen for more inspiration. And remember, you are a blessing to me. See you next time. Bye.